Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's session. We'll be talking about Spanish innovations in global health and the opportunities for researchers and innovators in ASEAN to work with their Spanish counterparts. Now, we will just give it a few seconds to allow everyone to come in from the waiting room. We know there's a lot of interest in the session, and I think you can be looking forward to a very exciting evening session today. Now, once again, a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us for this session as part of the European Research and Innovation Days in ASEAN 2021. My name is Susanna Rantzavasu. I'm regional coordinator of the EURAXIS project, and I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. Jenny Lind Mako. Now, the EURAXIS, the European Research and Innovation Days, is our annual platform. It is a platform that EURAXIS is hosting for you, researchers, innovators, practitioners across Southeast Asia. We want to give you a space where you can learn together with your European counterparts what the topics are, where there are opportunities to explore synergies, to join forces, to find solutions to some of the global challenges that we're all facing. And, you know, I just need to say COVID, and you all know what I mean. We have a very exciting session lined up for us today with 5 excellent speakers. And in just a few minutes, I will be introducing them to you. But before we start the session, I'd like to invite my colleague Jenny just to say a few words about the EURAXIS project to you. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Susan. A very good afternoon from my side of the world to everybody, and good morning to those of you joining us from Spain, and a very warm welcome as well, most especially to our speakers, and of course, Senor Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us. His Excellency, Mr. Santiago Miralles, thank you. So EURAXIS is a project of the European Commission and its member states, and it is a key instrument to foster researchers' mobility and cooperation worldwide. So we are your gateway to the European research area. So EURAXIS ASEAN, the hub here, hosts a community of over 23,000 scientists, researchers, research administrators, and business representatives who are interested in scientific collaborations between Europe and Southeast Asia. So we have been doing events such as this between Europe and Southeast Asia, and we have been bringing together policymakers, researchers, entrepreneurs, and the public to debate and shape the future of research and innovation in Europe, in ASEAN, and beyond. And the events that we are having are organized in close cooperation with the EU delegations and also the permanent missions and the other missions here of the member states and local partners as well. So for this afternoon, we of course are talking about Spain, but there are other events as well that you might want to also take note of, because the European Research and Innovation Days will stay for the next weeks, and there are a lot of things. Tomorrow, for example, there is another event by Spain, so please don't forget to sign up for that. It's at 4 p.m. Singapore time, or GMT 8. So we'll send the links also in the chat box. But today, of course, we are talking about a very important topic, which is global health. But before that, please don't forget to sign up to the LinkedIn group of Europe-ASEAN research collaborations, offers, and requests. I will send the link also in the box, so you can continue to engage and communicate with researchers from EU and ASEAN, and let us know what you come up with. You have a very mixed group here. Some of you are administrators, some of you are scientists and business people. I mean, you are a very diverse group, so we want you to continue to talk together. Please also don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts. We are on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, maybe later TikTok. I don't know, I have to convince Susan. So just link on EURAXIS ASEAN. And of course, our website gives you a wealth of information. So do visit euraxis.eceuropa.eu worldwide ASEAN. I will put the link again on the chat box. And again, check out what is next in the next days. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Now, it is our great honor to welcome the Ambassador of Spain to Singapore, His Excellency Mr. Santiago Miralles, to give us some opening remarks. Ambassador Miralles, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Suzanne, and thank you, Jenny. Good evening to all of you. Buenos días para quienes están en Europa. I'm very happy to be in this first session of the tour for Spain in European Research and Innovation Days ASEAN. Research and innovation cooperation is taking a very relevant position in the agenda of the relations between Spain and the ASEAN countries, and the pharmaceutical and biotechnology industry in Spain is dynamic and competitive. In the field of life sciences, the pharmaceutical industry is booming and accounts for over 20% of the total private research and development investments in Spain. Innovation in healthcare technology in Spain offers a great potential for development, mainly due to the large size of our market, which are 1,000 companies, 500 of them manufacturers. Over 27,800 people work in this industry. So advantages of this industry are solid basic science, highly qualified human capital, cutting-edge technological infrastructures, and an integrated healthcare system and government support, of course. So let me thank you for being here. Thank the European Union, the EU delegation in Singapore for organizing and inviting us to take part in this event. Thank you to ICEX and all the participants, mainly to Antonio Garcia here in Singapore. And let me send a very warm greeting to Blasco, who used to work with us until very recently, and I know that Singapore and ASEAN is in his heart. So I wish you a very fruitful working session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Miralles, for these warm words of welcome. Thank you so much. Now, without much further ado, we will now turn to the program for today. For the next 45 minutes, we will have a very exciting program planned for you. Our first speaker is Mr. José María Blasco Ruiz. He is the Director for Infrastructure, Health and Digital Economy Division at ICEX. I cannot pronounce the Spanish word, but it is the Spain Experts and Investments Agency. It's supported by the Spanish Ministry for Economy, Industry and Competitiveness. Mr. Ruiz is going to introduce us to the DESAFIA immersion program for 8 Spanish health science startups that are actively looking for partners in Southeast Asia and Australia. So this is a very, very concrete offer for collaboration. Mr. Ruiz, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. And thank you very much, Antonio Joan, for the invitation to take part today at the event. Thank you, Ambassador, for sending me your regards. You are right, I have Singapore and Southeast Asia in my heart. Not only because my wife is from Southeast Asia, but also because now I'm in Madrid, but the last 3 years of my professional career, I was based in Singapore, and it was very enriching personally and professionally for me. And you are right, Suzanne, when you talk about the DESAFIA program. The DESAFIA program was launched by the Economic and Commercial Office and the Embassy of Spain in Singapore, together with the Spanish Trade and Investment Promotion Agency, ICEX, just a few months ago in Singapore. But it's not only for Singapore, it's for Singapore and Southeast Asia. And I think it's going to be one of the most relevant bilateral projects between Spain and Southeast Asia for the following at least 3 years, is the extension of the program right now, because it will make the Spanish technological and innovation health ecosystem, health culture closer to the one in Southeast Asia, particularly in Singapore, but again, it's open to the whole Southeast Asia. Let me add some more information at the very beginning to the explanation by the ambassador. But I'm going to do it through what I consider the 5 pillars of an innovation and technological ecosystem. So I will talk very briefly about the startups, corporates, funds, enablers like universities, accelerators, incubators, and the support of the government. I think that without these 5 pillars, you cannot grow, you cannot have a real technological and technological innovation and technological ecosystem. Particularly, you are focused on health, as we are with this program with Southeast Asia. In Spain, we have 3,000 startups and 400 of them, they are on health. And when I'm talking about on health, I'm talking about e-health, I'm talking about medtech, and I'm talking about biotech. They are the counterparts from Spain for this DESAFIA program with Southeast Asia. It's also important to highlight that at a rhythm of 10% every year, there are more and more of these startups, of these companies that are more internationalized, and that they are diversifying the markets in which they want to be involved, they want to talk to different stakeholders, and Southeast Asia is one of the most relevant for them, at least in the health sector. The ambassador said that 20% of the Spanish R&D is on health. That is right. And the government support is very clear, with an integrated healthcare system in Spain with more than 800 hospitals, 40% of them they are public, and some quite interesting fiscal deductions and incentives for the companies, particularly startups, through the new law of startups that we are now passing through the parliament in Spain in the following weeks. There are also quite a high number of major industrial multinationals that are being established in Spain, not only for looking for distributors, but also for creating production centers, R&D centers, or for services. 60% of the multinationals in Spain, of the companies in Spain on the health sector, are coming from abroad. And regarding enablers, we have identified more than 300 enablers, accelerators, incubators in general terms. Okay, I'm talking about the whole innovation and technological ecosystem, but at least 8 of these enablers, accelerators, incubators, or universities, they are focused 100% in their entrepreneurial programs, in the technological innovation collaboration programs on health. And we are directly working with them from the Spanish Trade and Investment Promotion Agency, and we are trying to connect them to Southeast Asia through the DESAFIA program. Just 2 more figures for finishing my first words, is just adding medtech, biotech, and e-digital. Almost 9% of the Spanish GDP is coming from this sector. So it's more than an emerging sector in Spain, it's a consolidated sector in Spain. And one more figure is that Spain is the top country in the world in clinical trials. 20% of all the clinical trials in the world are being developed in Spain, with more than 1,000 different clinical trials a year. So we consider that we have a mature innovation and technological ecosystem on health. And from the Trade and Investment Promotion Agency, we think that we had to use instruments to connect different ecosystems, to make closer the health culture, the health technological innovation ecosystem from Spain with other parts of the world. And we identified Singapore, Southeast Asia, as a focal point in Asia to start with this connection on the health sector. And we also realized that we had already these instruments because we have a network of immersion programs all over, not all over the world, it will be all over the world in 2022, but till mid-2021, we had 2 immersion programs, one in San Francisco and the other one in Tel Aviv, through which not only the startups from Spain, but all the pillars that are creating an ecosystem, they can take advantage of this immersion program and be connected with the stakeholders of the destination ecosystem. So we had the one in San Francisco and the one in Tel Aviv, and we decided to create one more in the Netherlands with on another sector, and one in Singapore on the health sector. And the idea is that at the end of 2022, we will have 10 of these immersion programs for Spanish startups, for the Spanish technological innovation ecosystems in the world, and there will be a community. So all what is happening in Singapore, Southeast Asia will be connected with what is happening in our center, in our immersion program in San Francisco, and the same with the new ones in Berlin, London, maybe Brazil, the Nordic countries in Europe, a second one in Asia. So we have to decide about the final network for 2021. How does this DESAFIA programs, how does this kind of immersion program work? We work with a local partner that will create a platform for, in principle, for Spanish startups that make them be closer to all the stakeholders in the destination ecosystem. In the case Southeast Asia, so I mean it will be make closer the Spanish startups with corporates in Southeast Asia, with venture capital funds, with the government, with other startups, with R&D centers, with university, with scientists, with cooperation at the end of the day. So we chose in September the local partner for our DESAFIA program in Singapore, and it is an accelerator. The origin of the accelerator is Australia, but they have been working in Singapore for the last 3 years, and it's called MedTech Actuator. And when I talk that it's not a connection, a bridge for startups, that it's for all the community in a technological and technological ecosystem, particularly health, I'm talking about what I experienced in September and in October in Spain. We received the visit of MedTech Actuator to Spain in a kind of roadshow for raising the interest in the potential counterparts for taking part in the program in 2021 and 2022. And we organized meetings for MedTech Actuator as a representative of the ecosystem in Southeast Asia with Spanish startups, with Spanish venture capital funds, with corporates, with accelerators, with universities, with different clusters and hubs all around Spain. So as a consequence of this communication of these meetings in Spain, we raised the interest of 20 startups to take part in the program, and we had to filter because there is space only for 8 startups in each round of the program. And now these days they are enjoying the immersion program in Singapore, 8 of these startups. The startups that are already enjoying the program are linked to, 2 of them, they are linked to 3D and robotics. 3, they are involved in artificial intelligence applications. 2 are more focused on e-health and telemedicines. And 1, for example, is linked to mental illnesses. So it is a very good picture of the startups that we have in Spain. That one fifth of the Spanish startups on health, they are more focused on neurological pathologies, and one fifth of the startups are focused on telemedicine. We have the picture now in Singapore with these 8 startups, and they are having now this immersion program with connecting with different counterparts in Singapore and Southeast Asia, because the local partner is not talking only about Singapore, but also about Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, even Australia, even India. So it's a total immersion in the whole Southeast Asia market for being closer to different stakeholders. Of course, there are corporates, universities, the different relevant players in the health system in Spain, the main hospital, the main public hospitals in Spain are also in the program. And so at the end of the day, what we want to create is to facilitate the connection between not only the Spanish startups, but all the pillars that are connected to the startups, because we know that apart from the 8 startups that are connecting to Southeast Asia through this program, the venture capital funds, the universities, the accelerators, the incubators, the researchers that were meeting to our local partner in Spain during the roadshow in September and October. So now they are also connected now with Singapore, and we think that after the first round, we will have more and more connection between the different counterparts. So we have this first round that is virtual because of the logistic and the movement problems now to get to Southeast Asia. But we hope that in mid-2022, we have the first round of DESAFIA program in Southeast Asia in presence, with the possibility to visit not only Singapore, but also other countries in the area, and to make this connection between the different pillars of the Spanish technological and innovation health ecosystem with the ecosystems in Southeast Asia. I think that from my side, I would like to give more time for the next speakers, that they have different projects. But again, I will remain today for Q&A at the end of the session. And anyway, through Antonio García Rebollar, our Economic and Commercial Counselor at the Embassy of Spain in Singapore, I remain at your service for any comment, any consultation that you need to connect with these DESAFIA programs. That again is one of the most relevant bridges that we are building between Spain and Southeast Asia for the next 3 years. Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you very much for this introduction to what seems to be an excellent opportunity to build partnerships. And as you can see in the chat, we already have researchers interested that would like to reach out to you. We have Professor Noor Al-Yusuf. He's from University of Putra, Malaysia, working in the medical diagnostics related biosensor field. He's very interested. We have also someone from Singapore who is working with Duke NUS at the medical school focusing on regulatory and health policy aspects. So if you don't mind, we would of course connect all of you afterwards so that you can explore these opportunities. And of course, from all of us, we hope that 2022 allows us to actually meet in person, and then we look forward, I think, to welcome the Spanish delegation here in Southeast Asia.
Thank you, Sam. Please do it. And of course, in 2022, I think I will have the opportunity together with the Spanish counterpart that will visit Singapore on the DESAFIA program. I will go with them and visit you again. I will be lucky if I can do it. Thank you.
Fabulous. We look forward to it. And all of you that are sending us messages, we will, of course, share the details with you in a follow-up email. So we will make sure that you are connected. And as you can see in the chat, as Jenny mentioned at the beginning, we have created a LinkedIn group specifically for the purpose for you to remain connected and to continue connecting with each other. Now, we are now turning to the second part of today's program. We're looking specifically at current developments by Spanish companies in ASEAN to combat COVID-19. Now, that, of course, is something that we all need to work on together, as we've just heard from, the Omicron, which is throwing a spanner in the works of us getting on top of this pandemic. We have 3 speakers lined up who are going to introduce us to developments that are happening in Spain. For example, HIPRA, the new Spanish COVID-19 vaccine that is currently being in a test phase. And we'll also hear from OPENMOTE, who are exploring to set up a manufacturing facilities for rapid tests in ASEAN. So very interesting and very concrete opportunities for researchers here in ASEAN to join forces with their counterparts in Spain. And our first speaker is Mr. Jordi Pol Ramon. He's founder and managing director of BCN Smart Technologies. He has over 20 years of international management experience in the life sciences and healthcare across Europe, Middle East, Asia, and Oceania. He is also advisor to the board of HIPRA, which is a European multinational pharmaceutical company that is engaged currently in COVID vaccine development. Mr. Jordi Pol Ramon, the floor is yours, please.
Hey, thank you very much, Susan. And first of all, I would like to thank the ambassador, Chema, Antonio, for having BCN here today, and of course, Euraccess for organizing this important event. And we have prepared a small presentation in order to share with you the latest projects that Spanish companies are undertaking at the moment in ASEAN in order to combat the pandemic. So the question is, are we prepared to combat the pandemic and other emerging infections? And actually, what all the experts are saying is that yet we need to allocate more investments and we need to bring more stakeholders into the picture in order to be more resilient. Vaccines are not getting into the last mile. We have seen that a lot of countries in Africa yet have not received the vaccines. And in fact, here in ASEAN, some of the countries too. At the same time, what we have seen is that we need to use technologies as rapid tests in order to check the levels of immunogenicity, but at the same time to control the population. And all this requires an ecosystem. I'm just putting this slide here to share with you what the BioCat, which is the biocluster of Barcelona, Catalonia, they are lately discussing. And definitely something that we need to adapt in this part of the world. So we need a way of the pandemic to be collaborative, global, and green. And the reason why we have prepared this presentation today is to show this collaboration between different Spanish companies and ASEAN companies. So just a short introduction, what BCN does. We invest in startups in innovation and with a scientific and technological background. We help on technology transfer, and also we develop data-driven technologies for monitoring. I'll show you later. But here, I just wanted to go straight to the point. We need vaccines and test kits. We need specialists in technology transfer, and we need technologies for monitoring and surveillance in order to combat COVID-19 and maybe other future outbreaks. So therefore, for countries here in ASEAN to be resilient, we need to help them bringing over these technologies and helping them with local champions to have these capabilities here in order to be resilient in the future. So today we have here, as you said earlier, HIPRA, and we have OPENMOTE. HIPRA definitely, I think, is the flagship project for the Spanish biotech ecosystem, which is at the moment developing this vaccine for COVID-19. And then OPENMOTE is a specialist for technology transfer, which has been already successful, putting in place a manufacturing plant for rapid test kits in Vietnam. And then last but not least, solutions that we offer as well for monitoring COVID-19 in schools, or platforms for managing biomedical waste, which definitely is a big problem nowadays. And in order to be holistic, we need to take care on animal health, on human health, but also the health of our planet. So having done this introduction, I would like to pass the floor to Carlos Fábrega, Managing Director for HIPRA, in order to introduce the developments on the vaccine for COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordi. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you, Euraxis and the Ambassador and José María. Thank you, Jordi, for the introduction. We have a short presentation that I'm going to share in order to share with all of you our project, HIPRA's project, and our COVID-19 vaccine project. Okay, for all, I guess most of you never heard about HIPRA before the pandemics, and this is because even though we have more than 50 years of history, we have been focused in animal health, right? And it was last year, due to the pandemic, when we made this move and we went a step further, getting into the human health business. But as I said, HIPRA has more than 50 years of history. We have a broad presence worldwide with 39 subsidiaries. And by the way, you can see here in the map, we have a strong presence in Southeast Asia. And as José María said before, I also had the opportunity to be in the region. I lived in the Philippines for 3 years, and I spent there a wonderful time. And I had the opportunity to get to know not only the Philippines, but all the Southeast region. And I go back to the region as often as I can. I have wonderful memories of those days. That was at the beginning of the internationalization project for HIPRA. The Philippines was one of our first subsidiaries, but now we have representation in most of the countries in the region. We'll see it later on. So we have 4 production plants, 3 research and development centers, one in Spain, one in the US, another one in Brazil, and we have 11 diagnostic centers, 5 of them in Asia, right? We have more than 2,400 employees, and we have 56,000 square meters facilities, or I would say state-of-the-art facilities where we produce and develop the vaccines that we commercialize worldwide, right? And even though I've said that we have more than 50 years of history, I always say that the HIPRA we represent today was somehow born in 2007. That was when we decided to focus just in prevention. So it means we said bye to the development of antibiotics to focus just in vaccines, right? And because of that decision we took back in 2007, today we are here. And we are here about to put in the market a COVID-19 vaccine. And we don't only develop vaccines, but innovative vaccines, right? That's why we say, I'm sorry, because there's some delay, okay. HIPRA combines knowledge and capabilities in both animal and human health, putting us in a unique position to understand and prevent zoonotic diseases such as COVID-19. Jordi, you were mentioning about this approach on how to get out of the pandemic, and we see the concept of One Health as a concept that is getting more and more importance. And we strongly believe that the experience we have from the animal health together with the experience we have in the human health puts us in a unique position to help society go through pandemics like the one we have today and the ones that will come in the future, correct? As I was saying, research and manufacturing is critical for us. We invest more than 10% of our revenues, reinvest in R&D. 16% of our staff, of those 2,400 people, are researchers, right? And we have experience with a variety of biological targets, bacteria, protozoas, parasites, and viruses. And I don't know how familiar you are with this, but there are very few companies that have that much experience in that different kind of biological targets, right? And as I said, innovation for us is critical. We do never start a project unless it brings something new to the market, right? And so that's why we've been able to be the #1 company in Europe in terms of new vaccines registered, right? We launched 22 new vaccines, all of them innovative in the last 10 years. And we will be the #1 company in registering vaccines in the near future. We have more than 50 new vaccines in our pipeline, right? So just some data to have an idea on how important is the research, the development, and the innovation for HIPRA. Last year, we produced more than 24 billion vaccine doses, right, that were commercialized in more than 100 countries. So, as I said, we believed we had a lot of experience, or the experience acquired during these 50 years made us feel comfortable to jump into the human health business. And this all started in early 2020 when we wanted to try some of the platforms we had in HIPRA working with coronavirus vaccines. We have coronavirus vaccines for several species, and we wanted to try some of the platforms we had. Then we realized that the results we saw at the beginning were quite positive. So we decided to go through it. And today I would say we are about to launch next generation COVID-19 vaccines. And I say next generation because this is how it was considered by the Lancet, no? These recombinant protein vaccines, which are a different technology to any of the vaccines that are currently being used worldwide. I would say that this is a project that has the full support of the Spanish government and also the European Union, who have accompanied us during all the phases of the development and all the trials. And I'll give you a brief update on the vaccine, the characteristics of the product. As I said, it's a recombinant protein platform. Our project started with a Wuhan strain, like most of the vaccines that are in the market. But when the new variants started appearing, we decided to stop and to rethink our project. So now we are working on a receptor binding domain, dimer vaccine with alpha strain and a beta strain based on DNA recombinant technology, with an adjuvant that has been widely used in human vaccines in the past, and that gives us a very safe vaccine with excellent neutralization against the different variants. And of course, I guess most of you are asking yourself about Omicron. This is something that, of course, it still has to be tested, but so far, all what we've seen when we've tried our vaccines against the other variants existing in the market has been very positive. So we are positive that, we are convinced our vaccine has a wide protection, and also it's quite versatile. We consider that in 3 to 4 months, we can adjust our platform to any new variant that might come in the future. This platform has also some logistic advantages when compared to others, and I think this is quite important for your region. The fact that it can be stored between 2 and 8 degrees makes it easy for the logistics, and the cold chain. It's a bit easier than some others, and this is especially important, you know, in countries like the ones in the Asian region, right? So, which is the situation? Today we are in the middle of a phase 2B trial in Spain, as well as in Vietnam, and the results we've seen so far are confirming what we had seen in the preclinical trials and in our lab trials, right? We are convinced we have a very safe vaccine with almost no side effects, and that it's going to be an excellent tool for the booster vaccination programs. We are closely following the situation in Southeast Asia. We know that there are different levels of vaccination, and we are convinced that second quarter of 2022, when we expect to have the vaccine approved, this will be a very good tool and a very safe vaccine with no side effects that can help overcome this pandemic situation worldwide, right? So as I said, we expect to start the rolling review in the European agency at the end of 2021. So we expect to have the conditional marketing authorization late first quarter or early to second quarter of 2022. We have prepared ourselves to produce around 600 million doses in 2022. And when I say that we have prepared, it's not only a question of capacity, but also we already have the raw materials and everything that is needed to produce these 600 million doses. You are well aware of the difficulties and with the supply of many raw materials, and that's why we had to adapt, and we have everything in our warehouse ready for this for producing this 600 million for 2022, and we expect to be able to double our capacity for 2023, right? So just a fast overview on our presence in the region. We have subsidiaries in Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand. We have invested millions of US dollars during these past years. We have more than 150 employees in the region. Actually, it's one of the most important regions for HIPRA. And I would say that we've done quite well with the animal health division, and we are getting ready to also become an important player for the human health market in the region, right? I mentioned already we are conducting phase 2B and 3 trials in Vietnam, and we applied to conduct the same trials in Malaysia, right? So we expect to, as I said, to become an important solution for this region in order to overcome this pandemic situation. Okay. So thank you all.
Thank you so much for this really exciting presentation. And I keep an eye on the chat group here because we have concrete offers coming in for collaboration, either on a vaccine, but also someone from the Asian Institute of Technology in Bangkok has just sent a message interested in working on a solution for you on storing the vaccine, which of course is very important as well. So my suggestion is that we will channel all these requests and suggestions to you after the session. Now we have, of course,
if you allow me, it's true, and I didn't know how deep we could go, but the fact is that this pandemic has changed many things, and one of them is I think all the countries have realized that they cannot be dependent on third countries, on third parties. And yeah, we've been approached by several countries who would be interested in HIPRA investing or manufacturing our products there in order to become independent in the future. And this is something that we are open to review and open to discuss any kind of collaboration.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, as I said, we will definitely channel all these offers to you. And we have concrete offers here from Malaysia, from India, from Singapore, and from Indonesia. So I think there's definitely a lot of potential for you to join forces. Now, looking at the time, I think I will now introduce you to the fourth speaker today. The fourth speaker today is Mr. Ignacio Villarrosana. He's the Chief Executive Officer at World Sensing, which is a global IoT pioneer in industrial monitoring expert. He has over 30 years of experience in this industry, and he's introducing us to OPENMOTE. So this is the additional part of our presentation today. The offer to, or the current undertakings to set up manufacturing facilities for rapid tests in ASEAN. So we will hear from our fourth speaker, Mr. Villarrosana, now about the opportunities here also for researchers, innovators in ASEAN to join forces with you. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Susan, Ambassador, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today. And essentially, we are taking a kind of a transversal approach to innovation, no? And it's and Carlos just mentioned, no, the opportunity to and the need, no, to set up local capabilities, no, to fight against this global pandemic and many other that can come, no. Then, if I can share my slides for in a second. Okay, so if you can see my slides, no, I'm presenting all the work we have been doing for several years in OPENMOTE technologies, no, in the area of technology transfer in a broader sense. And well, I don't think we need to mention, no, the situation, the need not to react against COVID and also many other pandemics that maybe they are not as relevant in Europe that in other areas of the world, and we don't want to be kind of European centric, so we need to be kind of global and understand the need for different regions, no? And having said that, no, we all know, and I think it has been mentioned as well in this presentation, no, that there's a divide, no, and there's a clear economic divide in the way, no, we get vaccines, but also other kind of tools to diagnose and to support, no, the control of the pandemic, but the pandemic is global. So even if we, let's say, first world countries are prepared, I don't think that this is enough. No, we need to help other countries to be prepared, and the sooner the better if we want to really face no, the situation. No, then the opportunity we found some months ago is to address the issue of building local capabilities, for instance, and continuous supply of diagnostics for different countries. No, then if supply chains, they cannot fly as fast as we need, let's be quick at setting up capabilities locally, and let's do that very smartly. No, so that's the approach, the innovative approach we are taking. So we want to provide tools, no, to make accessible, no, the supply of antigen tests, but also immunity tests and some other tools to face to diagnose, no, the population. We want to do that affordably, and it's not the same the production cost in some areas of the world that in other areas of the world. Why then we need to kind of slow down the adoption of these technologies that they are available, no, and we want to be accurate, no. So, and if we are smart, no, and we plan this technology transfer the right way, we can start by setting up manufacturing capabilities. So we just supply locally the tools we need. But if we play that smartly, and depending on the amount of investment we can release, we can set up or either development centers or innovation center, research centers locally that they can further develop, no, the technology to face local issues. So you are not only investing locally in taking advantage of the COVID situation, in a sense that you would need to do local investments anyway, not to protect your population, but you set up capabilities in your territory to develop the economy at another layer in the value chain. No, so that's the opportunity we found, and the way to do it is to structure, no, the project of technology transfer, not only by thinking on what is required today, but what we want as a country, what we can afford not to do as a country. No? Then what we have been doing is supporting different biotech companies and governments, no, on one side, not to source strategic partners, because there are a lot of solutions here and there that sometimes they are in medium-sized or small companies. So HIPRA is a giant and they are well known, but there are other smaller companies that they have tools that could be very helpful and easy to transfer. Then we are also working a lot in the financial modeling, not to make the investment attractive with very clear returns on investment, and also to helping countries to dimension the capital that can be used to invest in these innovation centers. And then we support in all the process of planning and implementation with knowledge transfer, on-site knowledge transfer. And we have been, and our team has been through a lot of quarantine processes. So we get locked down in countries, and then we set up operations locally, and then we support during all the implementation until the machine, the new manufacturing plant is set with the right quality control and the quality assurance processes. Then what we need to do that is local partners, because we feel that the involvement of local partners, it can be public, can be private companies, it's fundamental, because idiosyncrasy of each country is what it is. So the routes to market, the regulatory implications, etc., are what they are. So we need local partners to lead and host the business, and we can support to release international and local investments, and then we can kind of start deploying the infrastructure or the teams very, very quickly. We have been working, as I said, with a broad range of companies in different areas, with different types of solutions, not only for COVID, and we are quite familiar in sourcing technology. Let's say it can be biotech, can be other areas of technology partners. And we founded who we are. We founded this company in 2012 as a technology transfer project from Berkeley University in the area of IT, in the area of semiconductors. And then we have been exporting technology from open source licensing to other areas of technology like biotech. So we are a group of people with project managers, industrial engineers, electronic engineers, software developers, supply chain managers, financial experts, IP licensing experts, that we are ready to support biotech companies on one side, but also local authorities or investors or private organizations that they feel that there might be an opportunity in their local regions. A couple of examples, what I was mentioning, the inception of the project, it was a technology transfer project of semiconductors, that was used to create a standard of communication, and it was made available to all the community, through open source licensing at the end. So we set up all the process up to open source licensing. And very recently, and I can say that I'm quite proud of the achievements. In only a few months, we set up a manufacturing plant in Vietnam with a 25 million antigen test capacity to produce, and we ramp up all the process very, very quickly. The idea, it's very simple. So short-term impact is what is required. So what we did is, we identify the type of disease, in that particular case, COVID. We identify potential partners to be the source of technology transfer. Then we source materials. We also help let's say, the target country to source maybe not the secret source behind the antigen test or the test we develop, but local components, because maybe boxes, plastics, all these kind of things can be used locally. So we simplify the supply chain, and then we support on setting up the processes, the IT components as well, on the local manufacturing plan. No? And then with all the financial modeling, we can use some of the profits that we can release from this execution to set up local development centers in a portion of the value chain of the development of rapid testing or any other areas. Could be materials, could be the antigens, it could be a new type of disease that is not relevant maybe in Europe, but it is a lot in one of the Asian countries. No, then that's the model. It's very interesting because it sets up capabilities in the Asian areas, for example, or African areas as well. And then we are not fishing for them. We are helping people to learn how to fish. No, which I think it's one of the important commitments we should have. No, when we want to transfer knowledge and face global pandemics. No. As I say, no, we do purchasing, we support in the process of structuring the purchasing process as well, and mentioning the needs and the scope of the transfer, unlocking public or private investment, and IP licensing strategy definition. No? Because depending on the partner, we can go far or we cannot go that far. No? And as I mentioned, the example of the type of projects we have been working. No? We set up this manufacturing plan in Vietnam. No, with 2 shifts, 10 hours, about 1,000 people involved in the process, and with the capabilities of developing 25 million tests. No, what the local provider provided is a lot of capabilities. No, a wide chamber. No, with control, temperature control, all what is required, and the capacity to recruit all the people. And we were supporting in all the training processes, definition, and IP licensing and all these kind of things. No, so we are here for you, no, to support all in this journey. No, both biotech companies and also governments. And I think that the model is quite innovative, and because I think it's a good way to ramp up. No, that the introduction of all these processes in many of these countries that we have seen in white or pale blue, not in blue as it should be. Thank you.
Thank you so much also for this fabulous presentation. Now, as I keep saying, there are so many interesting comments in the chat box here. So people are introducing themselves and asking for your contact details. And once again, we will share the contact details with everybody who's signed up today in a follow-up email after, of course, we've received the consent from the speakers. Now, I have a question maybe to all the panelists. Just an example, we have someone here, Professor Sainuddin from University of Science Malaysia in Penang in Malaysia, and he is asking if there would be an opportunity for you to support them in finding an investor or a collaborator to commercialize their inventions. They are currently working on diagnostic kits, one's in the area of typhoid fever, and the other one, I think, is in the area that I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not familiar with, but would that be something that you think there's an opportunity to join forces there? Maybe Mr. Ignacy, if you would like to.
Yeah, for sure. No, so it's the broader the scope. No, we can reach the better. No, we are in touch with different organizations, no, public and public and private organizations. No, we are also looking in some regions there are innovative purchasing processes for governments, so that you, especially for things under development, that can be very useful for the region. So it's about understanding, no, what it is it for, and if it can fit in one of these kind of innovative purchasing processes. There are a lot of governments that they are ready to invest, not to be first in adopting some kind of technologies. No, then I think it's something we can study.
Excellent, thank you so much. And just to emphasize again, of course, Euraxis ASEAN is your key interlocutor. So we are connected, of course, not only, sorry, that's my dog, to the research community, but of course also to the government and funding agencies here. And we will, of course, in the aftermath of this session today collect all the information that we have received in the chat here as well, and get back in touch with you to make sure that you are connected to the right person. I'm just looking again at the chat box. There are no actual questions. Maybe there's one question, sorry, that's just come here from Mr. Tanaka, I think joining us from Japan, to Mr. Febrega, asking, what do you mean by next generation COVID-19?
Hello.
Yes, that question was directed to you. Maybe if you would like to respond briefly.
Well, this is an article that was published by Lancet, and comparing the new, what they call it, new generation vaccines like HIPRAs, protein recombinant vaccine, with the ones existing in the market already, being the adenovirus or the mRNA. So that's why it's a different category, a different platform, different kind of vaccines which has been used already, and well, which we believe brings additional benefits.
Thank you so much. So just to summarize again, lots and lots of offers here are really covering all the various aspects that our speakers have touched on, and I think the theme that we heard is to help also build up the capacity here in ASEAN to combat the current pandemic. So I see really a lot of offers that are coming in here. There was one more question. Jenny has just alerted me. There's a question from, no, we've covered this already. So I think, again, no questions, really just a lot of opportunities and offers. And again, we will bundle this and make sure that it is shared with everyone. And then we will follow up to make sure that these opportunities are bearing fruit for all of you. I think that brings us to the end. I'd probably like to give the final word to the ambassador, His Excellency Santiago Miralles, if you would like to just maybe give us some closing comments on the session today.
Thank you very much, Susanne, and thank you to all of you. And well, I think it was fascinating to listen what the possibilities are open now for collaboration with ASEAN. I was just reading a piece of news in the Straits Times about HIPRA just today. So I'm happy that is also in the headlines of the press here in ASEAN and in Singapore. So thanks a lot, and I do hope that there will be the beginning of a very fruitful cooperation between our companies and ASEAN. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, and thank you so much to our panelists for what was really an extremely useful and positive, constructive, and very concrete session today. And I think, as I keep saying from the chat box, we see this really resonates with what the audience is working on and where the audience wants to collaborate with you. So we will make sure, Jenny and I, that you are all connected, and we will do our best to make sure that you will have a fruitful exchange that is a productive exchange after this session. Now, I thank you all so much for joining. Maybe Jenny, if you want to also say something to our audience.
Yes, to our audience, please don't forget our LinkedIn group, and also to our experts here, if you don't mind, we would love to invite you as well to join our LinkedIn group so that we can continue these conversations. You can see already all the offers from the ASEAN side. So we would love to have the European side there as well. So, and please follow us on a special LinkedIn group and also our social media accounts. And tomorrow, please don't forget, there is another session. We will be having the ambassador again at 4 p.m. You can check on it on our Facebook account. Please don't miss that as well. Thank you and have a good night from my side of the world.
Yes, thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Good night, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you
So much.